So, time for some more Micropython on the Pi Pico on the PicoExplorer. How about doing a different game today? Let's have a look at the Simon game. Simon was an electronic game and it just repeats a series of colours and sounds back to you, and you have to repeat that same sequence back to it. So let's think about setting the board up. So it had primary colours on it mostly. Green, red, blue, yellow. Let's set a black up as well. And to be honest, we know that we can just send 0 for a black, so let's just call black that. I'm also going to set some more for brighter versions of this. I'm going to call them lit, and I'll do lit and copy those down. We can have brighter versions of that, so I'll set all of these to their 255 equivalents. All right, so there's all my pen values. You notice I've got audio on here as well. Explorer set audio pin. Simon had audio on it, so I'm going to do tones for each of the colours. And to get audio working, well, set the audio pin, which we're using that as GP0. You have to connect that across to audio, which wakes up that horrible little piezo speaker. I want to define some buttons first. So let's say buttons, and I'll do a button set equals. This is just to define the order of the buttons. So I'm going to say there's button A, B, Y, and there's button X. I'm going to set some more variables up as well because of how I'm going to display this on the screen. So I'm going to set half of the height and the width that we've got. By the way, all of this is just the standard stuff on the start of the Explorer demo. So let's say half width and half height. And that equals width divided by 2, and that equals height divided by 2. And I automatically put the brackets in because I was going to turn those into int values, because I want to make sure that they're not a 0.5, but they shouldn't be with the Explorer board, but I'm just doing this to make it sort of generic. Right, so let's create a block then. So this is going to be the thing that's going to draw one of the colours on the screen. So we'll define it to start with. So def block, and what are we going to send in? We're going to send in the X coordinate, the Y coordinate, and the colour. Now I'm just going to do all these with procedures this time. I'm not going to have a class called block. Maybe I'll revisit that in a later video. Explorer set pen and then colour, and then Explorer rectangle to draw a rectangle, and I'm going to set it at the X and the Y position, and I've got to do the size of it as well. This is where I'm going to use this half width and half height, because each of these is going to be half of the screen. So half width and half height. So I've just got to initialize the screen to start with. So let's do Explorer set pen black, then Explorer clear, and Explorer update, which should give me a black screen to start with. Try that. Okay, black screen. And then let's just say block 0, 0, red. And before I try that, let's just update the screen after I've displayed it. So let's run that. Okay, so a bit of a faff there, a bit crashing, but there we go. There's a red square. So I can call that block several different positions now to set up the playing field. And I think I'm going to add something else to it. I think I'm going to add the letter into the block as well. So whether it's A, B, or Y, or X. So let's send letter into it. Set the pen again. Set pen black. And then it's Explorer text letter. Then I'm going to offset a little bit. So let's say, could do a calculation here, but I'm just going to say it's 50 off from the side, and Y plus 50, and I'll put 4 as a word wrap, it doesn't really matter. And I've got to call it now with a letter, so that red one is going to be letter A, isn't it? Try that. crashed out again. Now I've started developing, I really find this reset button useful because I'm having to reset it all the time because of my buggy code. So, alright, so that's me A. So let's set some more up. So I'm going to set up a new procedure to draw each of the blocks that will call this other procedure. So def block A, and so block A is going to go block, in fact let's grab that, block A red. Now I think I'm going to modify this as to whether it's lit up or not. Alright, so let's send in something called active, and that's just going to be a boolean. So I'm going to say if active, then block A equals lit red, otherwise block A equals red else. So if it's active it will be bright red, if not it will be not bright red. Let's call that, so block A, I'll set it to true, that should be, oops, true, that should be a bright red. Got nothing to compare that against, but let's just send a false to it as well. Try again, not much difference there. So let's copy these down and create one for each of the other blocks. So it goes A, X, B, do one for Y. Doesn't matter which order I do it, but the order on the screen's important. So X, then the X one is going to be, well the X one is red actually, the A should be green. Then the X is red, but this is going to be at half height. So lower down the screen there, and this has got to be, this one's got to be half height as well. So then B needs to be yellow, and that's going to be half width. So let's grab that half height, and that's going to be there, half width. And then Y, ironically you'd think Y would be yellow, but that's not how I did it. Oh well. Block Y is going to be Y, and half width, then half height, and this is not surprisingly going to be blue. Alright, so let's just clear that, reset it, make sure I've got a connection again, and try that. Well, something's happened. Okay, so the last one that's on there that's green, of course I'm calling block A, which is green. I've only called one of them at the moment, so hopefully if I set all these up like so, A, B, X, Y, we should now, there you go. So there's my playing board set up. I'm not sure whether this is working, so let's do true and see whether block B, which is yellow, lights up more. Hopefully it should do. Yes, alright, so that's working. This is to set up the playing board to begin with, so I think I'm going to grab this there, and I'm going to create a definition for this. Let's call it all, and let's send active in again, and so hopefully if I do all true, so that should light them all up. Oh, shouting at the screen, weren't you? Stop play. So that sets the board up and displays it all. So if I do all true, then they're all brighter. You might not see that on the screen. So that's the board. So on the next video I'll put some output on the screen to tell the player what to do, and maybe work on an attract mode for the game.